Hi, hey, and all those other greetings, Spade Adventurers. I'm Jake Spins, welcoming you guys back to my gaming unboxing channel, where today we finally get to do more Sonic GE stuff. Yes, I am so excited. I know we had the return of Sonic GE with Infinite, but listen, not to make people upset with me, but Infinite is not one of my favorite characters. I didn't really like his background. His design was cool, but they could have done better with Infinite. I'm just saying. I'm sorry. But today's character, guys, is one that I am not only excited about, not only are they one of my favorite characters, but this is a character from the comic universe. Which, listen, let me tell you how big this is. The reason why this is so big is because we didn't actually get characters from the comic universe put into any sort of media, any sort of merchandise for years. The last time this happened was with Sally Acorn, who was in Sonic Spinball, and that was the biggest role she had in the games at all. Sure, she was in the Sad AM show, and yes, she did have a statue at an amusement park, even a Plush, but that was so many years ago that that is not accessible. However, the character we are going to be talking about today is accessible. Now, before we jump into that as well, I should mention there are characters that I am leagues more excited for, and I will probably extremely lose it and explode 2 times on camera and have to re-scoop myself back to be able to even get through the video. However, I didn't actually realize that you can go onto Great Eastern's website and buy these plush, and that was the only way that you could get these guys at all until they were made retailly accessible. Characters like Emerald, Mephiles, sure, I'm not excited for Mephiles, but you guys get it. Another character from the comics, which, oh my god, I'm super excited for that one. And like just so many more and so many to come. It's going to be wild. We're going to have a perfect set that's even better. But this character was one of the first original characters inside of the Sonic IDW continuity. Now, you guys might know that I actually really love Sonic IDW's comics. They picked up from Forces and they took a story that I felt had a lot of potential that was wasted upon, and they built on it and made it better. Honestly, the original arc was very, very good. Basically picked up and did something with Metal Sonic that I thought could easily be put into a game, and a Sonic Forces sequel. Thankfully, they're not doing this, but if they did do this, I would not complain. Now, the other one after that was the Metal Virus saga, which, oh my god, that was so good. If you haven't read it, I don't care if you like the comics or not. If you're here, you probably do. But it's good. It's good. If you have the chance to read it, definitely read it. But we're not going over the comics today. We're going over a character that has done something that hasn't been done since Sally Acorn. That character is Tangle the Lemur. Oh my god, dude, this is so cool. This is so cool. So this is not the first merchandise of this character, which makes this even more insane. This character debuted inside of Sonic IDW issue 4 in 2018 and became a very popular addition to the Sonic cast, being a very energetic lemur that could use her tail, stretch it out, make it into a boxing glove, and just punch people, or end up tangling it around poles and slingshotting herself or other people. She is one of the most charismatic characters inside of the comics. She loves adventure. She's very much like a Sonic-esque type of character without being cocky and having more of that friendship side of things. And all around, she's just very cool. Her first bit of merchandise was actually due to the comics having a shirt tie-in. I don't wear this shirt. However, I do have this shirt because I've worn it once and I don't want to damage it. Because I'm like, at some point, this is going to become a rarity. And I hope not, but it's probably going to become a rarity. So that was the first time she was ever merchandised. The second time that she was outside of the comics was actually in Sonic Dash and Sonic Forces Speed Battle, or Sonic Forces Mobile, whichever you want to call it. That is huge. Her, as well as Whisper, were popular enough to not only get put into a game, but get their own 3D models. That's wild. That means that they are able to be put into other games. That means that with the permission of IDW, they could be put in shows, mainline stuff, and so much more. As I mentioned before, that's not it though, because we actually got shirts. We got pins. There's more merchandise of Tangle and Whisper than some mainline Sonic characters. Than characters like Omega, Cream the Rabbit, so many others that I could list that have been in the mainline Sonic games. They have more popularity and more merchandise than those characters. That in and of itself is crazy. But in my opinion, these two characters are really good. And trust me, when I do the Whisper episode, oh, I'm going to be so hype. I love Tangle, but man, Whisper resonates with me, man. Whisper has such a nice, heartfelt story, and I love it. And these guys even had a side comic of Tangle and Whisper so that you could find out the backstory of both of these characters, and even introduced other characters like Jewel and more original characters that these guys got to interact with. I really hope that they merchandise and bring more characters from IDW to things like Sonic Dash. Characters like Belle, characters like Jewel. I don't know how popular they are, but I would love to see that. Because even though, yes, we have so many Sonic characters, even from Archie in and of itself, this is an avenue that is new, and the characters, the creators, are very willing to go forward with this. The people who created Tangle are Ian Flynn and Tyson Hess. If you have been in the Sonic community for quite a bit, or even a few years, you'll know that these are two big names inside of the Sonic community. One of which basically single-handedly saved the Sonic movie franchise by giving Sonic a video game, comic, movie-accurate version of Sonic. I can't stress enough how cool this is and how many avenues that this opens up. The creators are open to these characters being merchandised and being used in other things, which, it's so cool. So cool, and I'm sorry. But man, I'm excited. I'm very excited. So let's put that excitement into a plush opening. Let's go. Alrighty, so this plush stands at 10 feet. Not gonna lie, I expected her to be a little bit bigger just because of the tail. However, I'm kind of fine with it because, as you can see behind me, there's only so much space. And trying to fit Big and Storm up there was extremely difficult to do. So I am 100% open to her being a little bit smaller. So let's look at a few details. The first I want to look at is the tag. Guys, they have an IDW tag. This is all art from that comic book. And one of the reasons why I love this comic, like, they will throw so many references to the Sonic games inside of the comic. And not only that, this is called the comic collection, which means this is a different one from the main line, and it means that they'll probably do more. Oh my god. Pull yourself together, Spins. You're a Sonic nerd. You're excited. Everybody else here is. Oh my god, I'm happy. I'm very happy. But look, all I'm saying is that if you are a huge Sonic fan and you have not read the comics, do yourself a favor and do so, because it is very good. These are Sonic fans creating this, and they are making all the references to all your favorite games. Yes, all of them, including Sonic Riders, Sonic Heroes. Guys, I don't want to spoil anything, but they literally took a simple mechanic from Sonic Heroes and made it a plot relevant thing for a character, and they make that character Plush. And I actually get to talk about that. Oh my god, that would be so cool. Sorry, let's get back to Tangle. So Tangle, one thing that I find interesting is her tuft of hair right here. So in the comics, it's shown as a very fluffy type of thing. I kind of wish that they did something like how a Sonya from Sonic Underground would look if they made her a plush, where it would be like a very frizzy thing, or like how they did with Sally. Sally, we were just talking about her. For her hair in any plush, how that is, because I think that would be really cool. Or if they even did like how they do it with Tails and Amy, and it's very puffy. Because if you look at this render from Sonic Dash, actually, I'm dumb. I can just edit it in. If you look at the render from Sonic Dash, you can see that it is supposed to be puffy. And if you look at her comic version, you can see that it is also a very fluffy part of her. So it's a little disappointing that it's not there, but let's be honest, who cares? Who cares? This is cool all on its own. So other things to note, we have her ears, which, oh my god, are so tiny and cute. It's adorable. And it's a little bit hard to see behind the little tuft of hair and her tail, but we do actually have the second ear there. Not only that, but we do have these little tiny like tufts here. They're a bit small, so they're tucked into the plush when they should actually be. Again, really not a big deal though. If we look at her eyes, we have a GE standard way of doing this, where the plush is very soft, but to make the eyes look different and stand out from the plush, especially since this is a very much bluish, grayish, whitish type of fur, you actually have two different sets. So you have the eyeball itself being that like very rough texture, where if you rub on it, you can feel like a very different texture. To the side, you have the gray for her like eyelash, but that's more so in her character design. It's like a shadow thing. Instead of being an eyelash, it's like a little bit of gray there, which is really cool. Then you also have the spike, which is her actual eyelash, being a dark and more smooth velvet type of material. So in her eye, you already have so many different types of fabric, which again is just so cool. You can maybe see the difference here in the gray, how that's on the side, and then there's a little bit of black there, just a tiny little sliver that goes in, and then when you go forwards into the eye, then the eyelash continues there. She also has very like lavenderish eyes, which on this plush look very, very cool. Not only that, but you can see what type of personality she has based on that cute little smirk right there under her shiny button nose, which a lot of Sonic characters don't have that. So it's really cool to see that they did that for this character. I'm trying to remember if they did an Amy Rose one plush fizz. I would assume so. And if not, they probably did this on Cream with the shiny button nose. Now, something that might be standing out to some of you would be that little shadow tuft on her chest. That's right, she does have a little bit of that is poking out, and yeah, it's pretty much about that area. One criticism I do have about GE is I don't like how they do the chest hair. It's always either not enough, or on Shadow, it's just 2 pieces of felt, and it's really not that big of a deal. On here, it is at least 3D like it would be in for the character, but it does look a little bit weird. Underneath, though, you can see a bit of gray for her fur. You can see the black track jumpsuit that's there. You can see the line there, which surprisingly is actually a fabric instead of like one of these, where it's like smooth, and I really need to learn what these materials are called, but where it's like shiny. So that's a very interesting difference that I would have expected. You also do have her yellow shirt, which, by the way, that's a pretty good length. it's a little bit random on her, but I feel like without it, it would look a little bit weird. So it's nice to have that splash of color there. On her arms, she does have a little bit more of Shadow's design as well. I believe this is also one of the first, if not the first, lemur characters inside of Sonic. But you can see that right there, very shadowish design, which is pretty cool. And then she also has some boom tape there, but it's not all around her arms or her hands, so it really looks good. She also has some fingerless gloves, which if you feel this part, it actually is the same fabric as here, which really cool. They didn't necessarily need to do that, but they still went to that detail. They also added these. Now, if you don't know this character, you might be like, they added a burnt slice of cheese to her hand? That's weird. Now, this isn't story relevant or anything, or even detail relevant. It's just a part of her design that, honestly, they could have done a little bit differently, but because of how detailed this character is, the fact that they even went the mile and put this in as something 3D instead of just, you know, putting a different color on there for the glove, it does show the extra miles, so that is pretty cool. You can also see on the palm, there's a strap there for it. So let's look at the shoes. So her shoes are very tennis shoey, and these are actually like a tougher fabric. I expected them to be a little soft because that's what they looked like, but no, they do have kind of like a tennis shoe-ish texture, which is neat. I never really noticed that she had like football style shoes, but yellow, because she does actually have some stitching there, which, knowing Whisper, it's probably meant to look like shoelaces, but it's actually just Velcro. Sorry, not Whisper, Tangle. And then she does also have the little top here of the shoe, which is very short but very neat looking. The bottom here is also not too different from a lot of modern day Sonic shoes, except it's white. So that's another thing that's pretty cool. And that's pretty much the same toughness as the shoe, but it doesn't have that shine to it, which a little bit unfortunate that they don't have that, but it's still pretty cool. Now, the last thing to look at is the tail. I guess this is the elephant in the room for this type of plush. But the tail, it's not going to really go anywhere because, unfortunately, it is attached to the arm as well as the ear. This is to make sure that the tail stays in one spot and essentially isn't going to be broken. It is a collector's plush, so this isn't surprising and it does make sense, but it does get rid of the freedom of her tail moving and is only unfortunate because it limits what her character is about, which is essentially moving her tail all around. That being said, I don't really care too much because it is a collector's figure, so even if the tail could stretch out, I still wouldn't do it because I wouldn't want to break the plush. That being said though, you do have a very soft but stiff type of fabric to keep it in there. There is some fluff in there to keep it a little bit harder, and then you do have some spikes here, which there are 5 looking like a hand. And it's really cool in the comics because it does actually form a hand and it's drawn that way. So that's super cool. So yeah, that is Tangle the Lemur, one of the first comic book plush in like 20 years, which is just fantastic. Let me know in the comment section down below, do you guys read the Sonic IDW comics? What do you guys think of the GE plush? And are you as excited about this as I am? Also, if you do read those, let me know what other IDW characters would you guys like to see made into these plush. I mean, they wouldn't just put comic collection there for no reason, right? They could do just 2 plush, but they're leaving that window open for other characters that are popular. I'm not gonna lie, Professor Starline is actually a pretty popular villain from the IDW comics, so I could kind of see him coming over. But that's going to be it, like I said. If you guys enjoyed, hit that like button, show yourself that known love, brother, mother, sister, father, iguana, and we'll see you guys later. Tangle, you want to punch the camera? Whoop, boom. Okay, that was a little bit difficult to do, but you know what? I did my best. She's looking really cool, and I'm trying to get a nice, beautiful thumbnail shot. Oh, my laundry's done. Well, that's good timing, right? Well, the outro to this is just going to be you guys hearing my timer go off. Alright guys, me and Tango got to do some laundry. Bye.